Who's your emergency contact? Who should we notify in the case of death? Welcome to the USP, where I spent the last 2+ decades of my life. You know, you see here, I'm getting ready to have my website put up, you know, and my wife and I were talking about trying to get a brick and mortar place, you know, a physical location for the people in the valley out here to come through, come check out the spot, come hang out. You know, we've been going through the kind of vibe and stuff we want. But you know, last night, as we're watching the news, as you guys already know, there's a lot of stuff that's been going on in the world. You know, there's a lot of wars breaking out. You know, it's the Ukraine war that's been going on almost 2 years, and the stuff that's going down in the Middle East with Israel and Palestine and all the different countries that's getting involved. And my wife was a little concerned about, you know, us having debt put on us and the loan, because interest loan is crazy right now as far as trying to get a place, trying to get a loan and all the rest of it. And, you know, my wife owns a tattoo shop. She does fine with her tattoo shops. For me, I kind of work with her. You know, I don't make nothing but like $1,000 every 2 weeks. No, $1,000 a month. I'm like an apprentice, but really I just go around and does all, you know, go pick up stuff for her, you know, fill up, just come by and help her with the things that I need to help her with. It helps me have a job to, you know, for the stipulations on my probation, but it also allows me time to work on the projects that I've been working on that I've been showing you here. But for this episode, you know, as we're discussing these things and watching the news, you know, it reminded me of the unspoken policy in the BOP, unwritten policy in the BOP. And it's, you know, the whole time I've been in prison, there was dudes that always told me, like, you know, they have a policy in the BOP that if there's a natural disaster or if a war breaks out, that they would leave the people in the USP for dead. You know, this theory has never had an opportunity to be tested. So, in essence, it's always still like a conspiracy. Like, no one really knows if this is real or not. But if you guys remember, in 2005, the Katrina hit, and it hit the Gulf. It hit Texas, Beaumont in particular. And this is when the first time, you know, I've been in the federal system since '95 on my first bid. I did 28 months on possession of an unregistered sawed-off shotgun. I came home in '98. I was out for about 6 months and caught all this time in December 15th of 1998. That's when they arrested me. So, but since I've been in the system, I've always, you know, I met people that gave me stuff to read about, you know, the prisons, about the politicians. And I've always heard that, you know, if you're stuck in the USP, man, if a war breaks out on American soil, they're going to abandon you, leave you, you know, they call for a lockdown, emergency lockdown, or whatever excuse they're going to give you, not letting you know what's going on. And we're so conditioned to just walk in our cell. When they say, hey, lockdown, lockdown, 10 o'clock count, which is now 9:30, 8:45, depending on what penitentiary you're in. 4 o'clock count, 4 o'clock count. We've been conditioned from the time you go into the penitentiary that you're going to lock down for count at 4 o'clock every single day, no miss, no exceptions. And we've been conditioned to do that. So if they come over there one day and say, hey, lockdown, 4 o'clock count, no one's going to think anything of it. And they're just going to walk in their cells, and them people's going to lock their door. And they might never come back and open that for you. And I'm telling you this, and some of your viewers are probably like, nah, that's bullshit. They're not just going to kill off all the people in the penitentiary. And this is just on the USP level. It's not on the FCI. It's not in the camps. But like I said, it's an unwritten policy, unspoken policy, but how somewhere, somehow, it came out as rumors and and conspiracy or whatever. But in 2005, we saw this play out in real time, in real life. And it made everybody that was stuck in the USP believe that this policy was real. I got to Beaumont in 2006, about March of 2006, right after the Katrina. When I got there, there were still dudes that was there during the Katrina. And this is the story that was relayed to me. And you guys can look it up. They filed a lawsuit on these people, but they had a class action lawsuit against the BOP for what they did. Now, they had the warning that was coming in, the Hurricane Katrina was coming in, was going to hit the shore of, I think, Louisiana, Texas, maybe part of Florida, Mississippi. It was one of the biggest hurricanes that's ever hit our shore. And cities were being evacuated. When we were in, I was in Victorville at this time, but there was a dude from SAC that was in my block. His girlfriend had lived in Texas, and he was on the phone with her as they were evacuating the city. And it was chaotic in Texas. Everybody was scared. Everybody was leaving. So, and here's the part that some people might not believe, but this has actually happened. And there's people that I still keep in contact that was there during that time in Beaumont, during the Katrina. So when I finally got to Beaumont in 2006, there was still people that was there, and they were like, man, the people, when the hurricane was coming, the people's family on the streets had called them and was concerned about, their brothers and their dads that was in the USP. And they called the prison and like, hey, what's going on with these people? Because they were evacuating the people from the camps. They were evacuating the people from the FCI. And when people was calling them dudes in the USP, the administration was telling the people on the streets, like, yeah, we're evacuating everybody. We're evacuating everybody. So all the family members of all these people that was incarcerated, that was locked down in bloody Beaumont, was led to believe that their fathers, that their sons, that their brothers was being evacuated to a safe location. But it wasn't true. They locked everybody in their cell and left. Think about that. The administration called for a lockdown. Everybody went into their cells. They locked the door, and all the freaking staff left. All of them but 2 COs. They refused to leave. The 2 COs really saved everybody's lives over there. I know of the 2 COs because people always spoke highly of these 2 staff members that stayed. And they stayed there. The water was cut off. There was flooding in the bottom tier cells. And then, comes the storm, is humid. And people were fucked up. A lot of people got saved because at the same time that, during that time, they used to sell us water bottles. Bottles of water that you can go buy in commissary and everything. And leading up to it, there was a lot of people that got smart, that got, that stocked up. But dude, there was people in there that was drinking toilet water. Like they were pissing in cans in their cell so they didn't contaminate the water that was left over in their toilet so they could drink. They had filed a class action lawsuit. And at one point in time while we were in Beaumont, the attorneys that was representing them had an offer to settle out for like $75,000 a person. The inmates that was on the class action lawsuit, they didn't want to settle for this 75 grand because the COs that stayed behind when they evacuated everybody, got awarded like $250,000, $300,000. But anyway, the lawyers that represented them on the class action lawsuit ended up passing away, and nothing became of it. You know, if you guys read on my comment, my homeboy Mark Branches, that's on there. That's not his real name, just to be clear, but that's on there. He was there in that time, and he always showed me, you know, when we was in Florida, like, yeah, man, we're about to get some money. You know, we was in Beaumont together. He's like, we're about to get some money, this and that. And till this day, not one inmate that was stuck in USP Beaumont during that time of Katrina got awarded anything. And when I got to Beaumont, you know, I heard the stories from all the different inmates. You know, there was a few of them. They were in good, you know, they were in good shape because their lockers were stocked up, and they had freaking bottled waters under their cell, and they were able to, you know, make it through the 2 weeks. But there was dudes, like I said, that was drinking out of the toilet water. They didn't come and pull them out for showers or anything. Everybody was locked down. The whole city of Beaumont was evacuated. The people on the streets was calling the administration concerned about their family members that was locked up in USP Beaumont. And these bitch motherfuckers was telling these people that, oh no, we evacuated the whole complex. We evacuated the whole complex. And then, you know, all the power lines and everything is off. And they're telling them, oh, you know, the prison's evacuated, so no one's expecting any calls from their family members. But this whole time, these dudes was locked in a cell, left to die. So that brings me back around with all the stuff that I've heard since I've been incarcerated, that there's an unwritten policy that if something happens on American soil, if there's a major natural disaster like Katrina or something else worse, that they can legally kill us. You know, there's been, you know, people say, oh, they can come in and gas the unit or whatever, but they don't need to. They just call for a lockdown, and we're all going to go in our cells, get locked in, and all these motherfuckers going to leave, just like they did in bloody Beaumont. You guys can look that shit up. And, you know, like, we never had anything like that during my time that I was incarcerated. So everything we heard before that was always like, it's conspiracy theories, it's scare tactic, this and that. But understand this too. Every single USP that is built next to a military base. That's not by coincidence. That's planned and strategic. Now, that might be for the purpose that maybe, you know, the level of inmates that are in the United States Penitentiary are on a different level of violence or more notorious than the one that are in FCIs or in camps. But they're all built next to a military, meaning that if in a state of emergency, the military can come in there and gun our asses down. So, you know, watching the news and everything about all the chaos that's going on, you know, with Israel and Palestine that is pulling in Yemen, Libya, Saudi Arabia, the United States, Russia, China, Iran. You know, it looks like it's the beginning of, you know, it looks like the perfect recipe for World War III. A lot of countries is involved in this conflict, and I'm not here to take side or speak on the politics of it. My channel is Welcome to the USP. So watching these things, it reminded me of what happened in Katrina, and, you know, it made me think about what would happen to my friends that are still locked up in the penitentiary. You know, we've been fortunate here in America that we've always fought the wars overseas, because we have two big ass oceans that divides us and separates us from all the conflicts in these other lands. But when all these major countries get involved, I guarantee you, it's not going to be able to be contained on somebody else's soil. It's going to spill over here. And again, I'm not getting into the politics of it. My concern is, for me, I mean, it doesn't need to be said for the citizens here in America and for our, you know, our everyday lives and all the rest. But the people that are at risk is my friends that are in the penitentiaries that are locked down. If something comes here to America, they're not going to have risk the potential that shit's going to pop off in the penitentiary. They're going to lock these people down and leave them there to die if they don't come in there and gas them or gun them down. And I'm telling you now that it's no longer a conspiracy theory, that we've seen it in real time back in 2005 with Katrina and Bloody Beaumont. And that was just a hurricane. So imagine if a war reached our shores, what they're going to do to the prison population. And, you know, I hope that they've been able to resolve these issues out there in the Middle East, because I fear for my friends out there. And the reason I'm not less feared for the people out here, but people out here, we have mobility. We can move around. We can adjust. We can arm ourselves. We can go stock up on supplies and prepare ourselves for whatever's coming. But you in a penitentiary, homie, you're shackled and handcuffed, literally. You have no choice. There's nowhere for you to go. There's gun towers surrounding the prison. There's 8 rows of barbed wire separating you from the outside world, plus a wall you have to climb over. But not only that, first you have to get out of your cell, which is a freaking steel door, reinforced. You know, the only person that I know that might ever be able to kick that door down is my buddy Bryson P.O.Z. But the rest of us, and I'm not sure if he could, but, you know, we went through this scenario while we was locked up, and he was confident that he could. And, you know, he's never said anything that he could do and he couldn't do it. So I'm inclined to believe him. But fortunately, we never had to test that theory. But you got to get out of your cell first. Then once you get out of your cell, you're in a unit with 2 locked doors. The door that locks into your unit, when you get out of that, there's a sally port, and that door only opens up from the tower. They got to hit a button from the tower. And if somehow you're able to pry that open, you still got the wall, you still got the barbed wire fence, and the gun towers. You know, society deems us dangerous. And I'm not knocking them for that. There's a lot of people in there that are dangerous. And a lot of people that are in prison deserve to be in prison. You know, but at the same time, being locked up, serving a prison sentence, and being left to die or being put to death is 2 different things. And I don't think that anybody with any type of consciousness could justify leaving somebody locked down in a cell during a fucking hurricane, telling their people that they've been evacuated to a safe location, while in reality, they were left to die. Like those people that was left in Bloody Beaumont, you know, they were grateful that these staff members stayed behind to feed them and to help them out, because if they didn't, guaranteed there would have been a lot of bodies, because not everybody had their lockers stocked up. Not everybody had waters under their bunk. I'm telling you, there was people drinking out of freaking toilet water to stay alive during that time. Welcome to the USP.